Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mr. Mike Netter.
Well,
Mike,
good
take it
evening,
away.
everybody. How are you doing? We're doing something a little bit different tonight for our town hall. We are live from Roseville, California, because what we're doing here is we're going to have Eric Early doing a live town hall. And so covering everything that we cover in California here. Whoops, and here's Orrin.
Am I sideways?
Yes, you are sideways, Orrin, which is actually a natural problem for Orrin.
Okay,
now
that's better.
Orrin's actually right beside me here. Again, as you know, we haven't had massive successes with live broadcasts here, but we're going to keep plugging away to do it because we think it's important to do things from the field. And Orrin, let's talk about that a little bit as we open up here, because I think the grassroots is a lot of what we're about, right?
Absolutely. We're here with a good group of people. There's a lot of positive energy. Things are just starting to kick off. We're here in beautiful Roseville, California at the House of Oliver. And we're getting ready to hear Eric Early speak. He's going to hit on a couple of different topics. We've got a great show for you tonight. So stay tuned.
And I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to walk around just a bit, which is going to drive Tim nuts, which is one of my major objectives. And if it wasn't for Tim, I want to say
this is his man on the street.
That's right, is the man on the street. Because I want to talk a lot about grassroots. It's interesting. I've been having conversations this week, and I'm going to let you look a little bit at the venue behind me. So many politicians are not getting out amongst the people. And it's interesting, Orrin, because I heard a thing on Kamala Harris today, how one of her criticisms is she doesn't get out to the border.
Yeah, go figure, right?
Doesn't get out to where the actual action is.
And this is why her approval ratings are at a whopping 26% right now.
Yeah, her approval ratings are less than my college test scores. And trust me, that's pretty low, Orrin. But reality,
and they're just a little bit higher than your IQ.
Just a little bit. Let's not push it, okay? At least my IQ, it's barely in triple digits. But the reality is this, for everybody out there who's watching what Eric Early's doing, watch what a lot of the politicians are doing, like Gavin Newsom, who we spent time recalling. The reality is they live in these glass houses and don't get out and communicate with the people. And I just think that's a major issue. Orrin, you and I spend so much of our time on the road, going back and forth, seeing what real people think and what they want to talk about.
We're either on the road or on the phone and, chit-chatting with people and getting, we definitely have our ear to the tracks and our fingers on the pulse of what's going on in our communities.
And I think that's a big problem that you have, especially in California today. Because I understand some states, I guess. I've been to a lot of states, and you go to Colorado and you go to Wyoming, there's a lot of space. But in California, I would hope that people do what Eric does, that the politicians get out, because it's not that hard to get around and find people. And as you know, who's my not so favorite politician next to Gavin Newsom? It's Kamala Harris, right? And one of the problems I had that got me started in this journey, as I've told many of time, is here we have again an elitist politician who is so out of touch. Again, and now that she's been elevated to vice president, it's shown even more how literally out of touch with the people that she is. And you've got guys like Rob Bonta, a professional politician, anointed attorney general. Shirley Weber, anointed secretary of state. These people have not had to get out around California. I want you to think about that real quickly for 1 second before we get started tonight. Shirley Weber has never run for a statewide office. She's been anointed to a statewide office. Rob Bonta has never run for a statewide office. He's been anointed to a statewide office. Now think about that. They run for regional offices, but never actually run for a statewide. So they've never been out amongst the people. Not that they would do that, but as Newsom is anointing people to statewide offices, frankly, he could have elections if he wanted to, he chose not to. These politicians are so out of tune with the actual people of California. I really think, Orrin, and tonight's theme's a little bit about vaccine mandates and about things which are going on in schools, but I really think part of the problem is people are making these decisions in vacuum. And did I miss something today? Are we still a democracy?
No, we're not. It's
Damn it.
that time is long since passed. We have a single party, political party in power, and it's basically they're just running ramshot over the people, doing whatever the hell they want. They just started demolition on the annex of the Capitol, and there was a hearing on that today. We had our good friend Andrea, out there making a stand and trying to raise attention to what was going on. And I understand, Tim, you know a little bit about that as well, and if you have information you'd like to add on to that, that'd be great.
I don't have much information about today's hearing, but I did listen in on a hearing on how they're actually dividing us a little bit more by calling something a state of hate. And it's a committee supposed to be targeting the areas of hate groups, but it's actually not. It's actually dividing us a little bit more and teaching people almost in a similar way as CRT, to divide the people more. And it's very unfortunate on how this is being pronounced and introduced. And it's not teaching people to be American. It's actually teaching a lot more separatism.
That's a really good point, Tim. And it's another reason we're not doing videos tonight, but the pregame is more about conversation. Because I think that's the thing that California stopped having. Tim, you have a great point. It pays the ruling party, if you will, to keep us divided, right? Because if they're divided, the people cannot stand up. And that's what the recall and certainly encourage everybody to do is stand up. And tonight I want to get across to everybody something very important. Understand that the position of Attorney General is such a critically important position in the state. And, when we talk about the party being divided, or the Democratic Party wanting to keep the people divided, they don't always want you to know who the Attorney General is. And that may sound strange to you, but the power of that position, I guarantee you that if you stop 10 people on the street, you'll be lucky if one of them can name who the current Attorney General is. Orrin?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's some great YouTube videos where this guy goes by the name of Mark Dice. He goes out on the public sidewalk and.
Mike, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. If you can stay away from Orrin, otherwise we're going to get an echo.
There you go. But he goes around and he interviews people, and he asks the most basic questions, like, it's 4th of July, and he wants to know if people understand why the 4th of July holiday exists. And they can't even answer the most simple basics of questions. And one of the reasons behind that is because, we took civics out of our class, and we no longer teach civics in school. We gave the civics curriculum was given up for a mandatory language instead. They figured that they didn't want people to know how the government runs, but they want them to learn, a secondary language for whatever reason, I don't know. But it is where the dumbing down of America began, is when they took civics out of our classroom.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Not only civics on the national level, which you would think people would know, but as I heard me preaching up and down the state, you better know your state structure. The Democrats took over this state or one-party rule because people don't know. And I ask this question all the time. I did it just the night before last when I spoke. I use the old line, how many of you have read the Constitution? And a good chunk of hands go up. And I say, I meant the California Constitution. And 3/4 of the people seem really surprised, one, that we actually have one, Not that the current legislature and state Senate pay attention to it, but also I challenge you to also stop any 10 people on the street or 20 and ask them, how many state assembly people does California have? How many state senators does California have? The number, by the way, is 80 and 40. And that's an important point for everybody to know out there. Let me just cover a quick California civics lesson for everybody out there, okay? And this is one of the things that we're going to be doing in the town hall over the next few weeks. And before I forget, I'm going to say this a few times tonight. We are taking next week off for Thanksgiving, so we will be dark. Well, I'm going to be eating for about 4 straight days. That's really why I'm taking it off. But here's the reality. We need you to understand California civics. The civics of California that Orrin and I have been talking about for months upon end are unique to our state. And this is the state where we live. There are 80 assembly people. There are 40 state senators that serve 4-year terms. The assembly people are up for every 2 years. And again, there's 80 of them. There are eight statewide offices. And those statewide offices control many of those decisions that affect your everyday life. And so we are
How many
going to be
Republicans? How many Republicans hold a statewide office here in
Well,
California?
gee, Orrin, that's an easy figure for me to remember because it's close to my aforementioned IQ. That would be 0.
And you know what, folks, and this is where we end up with the single party supermajority rule here in California that has done so much damage. There's a couple of propositions that are going out right now that people need to be aware of. There's a water bond, not a water bond. There's a water initiative. There's a school choice initiative that are going to be circulating petitions and going around being put on people's tables. And this is really important because, like I've always said, when you have a supermajority single party rule over a state, you have a totalitarian government, and the people of the state are the only thing left in the system to bring balance back to that mechanism. And we in California, because of the way the Constitution is written here in our state, we have the ability to self-govern through the referendum process. With the referendum process, when the legislature makes laws, we have the ability to go in and gather signatures to change those laws or overturn them if we don't like what they've done, if we don't like what they've imposed upon us. Say, for instance, the sanctuary state status, or other laws that they've imposed where we have exception to it. We can go in and literally change those laws to our favor, and the legislature has nothing to say about that. Now, the legislature, so we can also self-govern through the initiative process in California, and that's the gathering of signatures to put an initiative on the ballot, which becomes a proposal, and then we vote. The people have the opportunity to vote on that proposal, which gives us literally the ability to, we can make amendments to the Constitution. We can, we can change things to the way we want. We can build dams. We can change, make funding available for infrastructure projects and things like that.
Let's also mention to everybody again, and we're going to say this over and over and over again, that many of these offices, the reason the left, if you will, or the Democrats have taken them over is really simple. I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it again. We don't vote. Okay, I don't even know how to phrase this anymore. Understand there's 18 million voters and we don't vote. So not only do you have to be educated on the California Constitution, all right, that gives me more time to ramble, but not only do you have to be educated on the California Constitution, you have to really participate. Orrin, who's back now, Orrin's favorite thing to talk about is Proposition 47. Orrin just Proposition 47, right, Orrin? Did we lose Orrin? Did we lose me?
It sounds like we lost Orrin.
Okay. Proposition 47, again, is the one that is talked about all the time. That is the one that allows people to shoplift, that allows people to do a lot of things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And it's bad that Proposition 47 got on the ballot. I think we've got Orrin back now. Orrin? This is what happens when you do it live from the field, but that's actually what I love about it.
But also,
Okay.
Prop 47 released a lot of prisoners out into the...
Right, right. Here's
And-
the thing that really... Go ahead, Tim. Orrin lost his audio and he's walking.
One of the terrible things that they did with this proposition is they gave it a false title. You know, they should have titled it something different instead of the Safe Schools and Neighborhoods Act. And it's not that.
No, it isn't.
Actually,
You know, go ahead, Tim, go on.
well, it actually created the opposite. It actually created a more dangerous environment for our neighborhoods and schools.
And one of the worst things about Proposition 47, it did all that, but you heard me say this again. This much talked about proposition, which has done so much evil to our state, that Eric Early talks about all the time, things he would change as Attorney General. I'm going to say these figures slowly so you understand. In 2014, when we voted on Proposition 47, that was titled wrong, the damage to this day that we suffer, it causes a lot of crime. In 2014, only 42% of registered voters participated in that election. Put your arms around that. Only 42% of registered voters participated in that election. And only 39% of eligible voters participated, okay? So the reality is not voting is the same as voting for the things that you're against, as stupid as it sounds. In the primary that takes place next June for Attorney General, Secretary of State, and the rest of these, the turnouts in the primaries is always considered to be low. And for everybody out there, if you get nothing out of Rebuild California, what we're doing here, I'm going to take a step back with the civics lesson, all right, Tim? Let's take a step back.
Yeah.
We have a top 2-tier state, and the number of Californians that aren't aware of what that means, let me be clear. Top 2-tier means this, all right, that the top 2 candidates, regardless of party, make the November election. Let me say this again. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 2 independents, too much of the time it's 2 Democrats are only choices in November. And that takes place because of people's inaction in June, okay? Very clearly, if you don't go out and vote for your candidate, I'll wait till November, it'll probably be all right. The damage that does is immense, especially since we have this top 2-tier system. Kamala Harris, whatever, Cookie Harris, whatever the hell her name is, right? That particular person, there's a man behind me, okay? That elected senator with her against another Democrat, Lorena Gonzalez. I had trouble stomaching who to vote for. Those are my choices for United States Senator. Disgusting. Because we didn't have enough people turn out. And that isn't just for the state elections, that's throughout the state of California. Let's be clear. For people like Eric Early to even stand a chance in the November election, you have to pay attention to the primaries. And now, California, we're in this situation where you better pay attention all year round. There is no off season right now. Oh, look who's back. It's Orrin. There is no off season right now for elections. Orrin, do we have contact?
No, it's a little noisy on Orrin's
For
side.
some reason,
Or
Yeah,
it's a little noisy
loud.
on your side.
I understand. Okay. I'll tell you what, folks, I will migrate out to a little quieter.
It was
zone. We're
fine
out by the
before.
street.
Yeah. But one of the things that I like to say is the more you get involved, the more you know, and the more you know is the more you want to get involved. So, so folks, start paying attention. Start paying attention to the politics here. And get involved. And when you get involved, talk to your neighbors. Get them involved as well.
And then that's a good, Jim, you have a good point here too. Look, we normally do videos for the pregame. Again, tonight we're doing a live town hall and doing a little bit different. I want to stress something though, and I'm tired. We have, when Orrin started the recall, we said we're breaking all the rules and politics is normal. We need to break the social norm and take California back. What am I leading up to? Next week is Thanksgiving. And when you go home or wherever you're going in California for Thanksgiving, you have to start, I don't get to say an adversarial conversation about politics, but you need to start telling people, explaining to people that they have to participate in the process. California is not a blue state. It's a white state. By that, I mean, it's a state of non-participation. It's a blank slate. This behind me really represents most polling. They can poll all they want. They're polling likely voters. And if you're not likely to vote, you really don't count. And for everybody out there, and I'm going to go on a rant right now, so stand back. For everybody out there who doesn't vote, not only vote, but vote for every single office, every single one, okay? Up and down the ballot, you're part of the problem. And I can tell you.
I just want to go back because when now my.
Hold on, I'm getting angry.
Yeah, I understand that, but there might be some people out in the crowd that might take the, when you said it's a white state, you got to clarify it a little bit more because some people might say, well, Mike Netter said this is a white state, and they may take that as a racial component.
And I'm not.
I
understand.
I know, and you didn't. You're just saying it's a blank slate.
A blank
I get
slate.
that.
Yeah, I was going to say fill in the blank here. It's a ghost kind of voting system because ghosts cannot vote.
Oh, correct. And that's a good point, Orrin. It's not meant to be racial. That's something else I get tired of here too, right?
Yep.
Everything we say has to have something attached to it as we gather attention. The reality is, and that's a good point of clarification, so everybody out there, don't get too excited that Nutter said it's a white state. It's a blank slate is what I mean, okay?
It's a blank slate, and I totally understand.
And by the way, if you hear this and you're ticked off at what I have to say, go vote, okay? I'm frankly past the point of, I really believe in my heart, and I study this deeply, a math guy with the sales side, as I call myself, that the problem we have is non-participation. I've said these figures before, and I'm going to say them again. Orrin, how many Democrats in the state registered?
Oh, there's 24 or 27 million registered voters, and 44% of those are Democrat, and roughly 19% are Republican, if that answers your question.
You're getting close, Orrin, but you're going to hurt our audience making new statistics. Why don't I just give them the figure, okay? For those of you out there grabbing a calculator, let me make it easy. There's 10 million Democrats. That's registered Democrats. And by the way, they have about a 65% turnout, so don't get too excited about that. There are 5.3 million Republicans who in the recall election team, we had about, hold on please, about a 60% turnout. Rah, rah, sis, boom, bah. There are 6.5 million, again, no party preference. And you know what I find funny as I go around now, and some are accidentally no party preference? People are actually proud to say, I'm not for either party now. People are actually proud to say that. And that's fine. But what I'm saying is this. If you're a registered Republican or even a registered Democrat out there, okay, you've got to participate. Sometimes the no party preference people have a higher voter turnout in a lot of places than the people in the actual parties, be that Democrat or Republican.
And what we are doing to participate, Mike and Robin McCrae, Susan Hurd, Tim Holliday, Eric Early, Dan Seone, our core group of management here is, we're bringing this stuff to you to give you a venue, to give you a platform to become active in your community, to make sure that you see the changes, that you're part of the changes that you want to see happen in your state around you.
Right. And I think everybody out there too has to get used to doing all the things that Orrin and I do all the time. Again, I was speaking, and I want to pick on a political group, but I was speaking at one, which I'm going to leave nameless, on Monday night. Pretty savvy people. And they were talking about a couple things like school choice. Okay. This is basic one. They go, well, there's maybe competing ones on the ballot. If you sign both, one will probably disqualify. No, they're two separate initiatives. Okay. What was also, I found quite fascinating though, is they were amazed that I had the knowledge that there's something like 31 to 34 initiatives that are ready to hit the streets. Like, how do you know this amazing knowledge? Where are your sources? Orrin, what are my sources for getting that kind of knowledge?
Well, there's several media outlets that are reporting on it, but the Secretary of State website has that information available to anybody who wants to look it up.
Yep, that's exactly my point. The Secretary of State website, okay? And I tell everybody out there, just Google things you're curious about, and it will take you right to them. I'm asked all the time, well, how do you know how many people are voted in this district? And I kind of whisper, Ballotpedia. It's not hard to find everybody out there. Back when I was a young man, back in the Stone Age in the abacus, we actually had to go to the public library to look this stuff up and go in the depths of the library. And I kind of understood back in the day when I researched stuff, why nobody would trudge the library, put up with the process of admission, be quiet, which you can imagine, Orrin, was very hard for me to do in the library, right? And go through and look things up and write things down. Today, if you have a cell phone or a computer, educate yourself. And there's a lot of even quasi, I'm going to call them savvy political people who just, you've got to vote and stay educated on what you need to vote on and what's coming up.
We have more information available to us than the Library of Alexander, folks. It's right at your fingertips. So what you need to do is make sure that you utilize that to your best efforts. So what time is it getting to be?
We're actually at 7 o'clock right now.
Hey, Eric. What I'd like to do before Eric takes the stand,
all right,
is I'd like to turn it over to Tim. Tim may have an announcement tonight. I'm not sure, but I'm understanding that this may or may not be one of his last go-arounds with our town hall. Tim has been an integral part of the recall. He's a valued part of our team. And Tim, well, it's Tim's corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, due to some health concerns and a very interesting situation with housing, I need to step down so I can concentrate more on my personal health and finding a different place, because things that have happened here in my home, which is done in a very, unprofound way, has happened. And yeah, things like this are happening to your aunts, uncles, mothers, fathers, and people don't have very much of a say when some of these things happen here with the public housing.
And there's not a lot of advocacy for people that are in your position out there. I'm finding out as well, right, Tim?
Correct.
Yeah, you're kind of alone. And I think you're in a situation where there's probably thousands of people in the state and in and around you that are experiencing a lot of the same frustrations that you're having with your housing, and have nowhere to turn, because attorneys are very expensive, it's time consuming, and there's not a lot that you can do to get through that system. You're tied up in
10 minutes
in bureaucracy, right?
Correct.
And I don't know if you got everybody out there really understands Tim's situation, and I don't want to blast Tim's situation all over the air here, but I want everybody to be aware. And Tim, I'm going to speak up for you because you're a good friend of mine and you do so much here. I know people are diving behind me. I love doing live. Tim actually hates it because he's like, the camera's not adjusted and the sound's bad. And I'm like,
there is a lot of really good energy here tonight, though, folks.
Right.
It's a good crowd, great people, and it's get out, participate, and join the crowd.
But I want to go, Orrin, I'm going to go on a rant. Tim, is it okay if I go on a rant about you? And
Rant away, brother.
You?
Rant away.
Listen, I can't tell you how it makes my stomach turn that people who crossed our border illegally get more benefits than Tim Holliday does, who's disabled. I don't even know what I could say now that wouldn't bring down all of Facebook and Twitter and the rest of the ecosphere on us. It is absolutely disgusting. I don't know, and obviously Eric's premier. Eric, I'm going to bring you in 1 second here, but hold on. I can't tell you how appalling when I hear that possible illegal immigrants that maybe did something wrong in the way that they were treated are going to get up to $450,000, and we can't get Tim a decent apartment in California. I mean, where the hell is the state priorities? And that's a good transition for 1 second to say we need a people's champion. And before Eric speaks tonight, I'm going to let Eric come on a little bit. Eric, can you speak?
Yes, sir.
Hold on, speak it to the microphone. You're live.
I can hear him.
Oh,
so we can
hello
hear
out there.
Just leave it down
Don't
on
get
your
too
chest.
close.
We
I
can
haven't
hear
bathed today.
What else is new?
Mike, we can hear him.
Is this good where I'm standing?
Yeah, see you in the picture.
I'm looking
It
at
is.
this little camera right here, and I'm speaking into whatever this thing is.
You're live
So,
now.
I am.
You're live.
I don't hear you guys. I don't have anything in my ear. So
Well, we can hear you. So
I hear.
say.
I hear Ned.
So everybody here's Netter. Here's the thing. Well, our theme is tonight, before Eric speaks and does the town hall that we're going to have partially on, you're speaking to the crowd. I want you to really tell them, and we're saying this, how you're a people's champion. And I want to emphasize something, what Eric is doing that he didn't hear earlier. I'm going to repeat myself. Rob Bonta and Shirley Weber, two of people who are chosen by Gavin Newsom,
Yes.
have never run.
He selected. He went through the color chart.
Well, hold on. They've never run or had to participate in a statewide election and really face the people. I want you to think about that. They haven't gone. They've been regional offices they've won. I want to tell you, and I travel with this man, okay? What we're doing to touch the people of California, getting in the field. And for everybody out there who thinks politics is easy because you can go on TV and, well, you can look like Eric, etc. Going on the road and talking to the actual people of California is a grind. And that's why I say, Eric, early, I think you're the attorney general that's going to be the people's champion. You don't have to stare at the little square. The camera's a lot bigger.
I'm just making sure I'm in the frame now. Okay. I'm looking at, folks, I'm looking at something this big. But am I in there, Orrin?
Yes, you're
You're
in there.
good. Looking
You're good.
It's not the rest. Okay. All right. So
tell us a little bit about what you're doing before you speak tonight. Why the hell are you running around doing these events and not spending, this isn't going to come out right, the night with your animals and your wife? Anyway, I put that, that's going to be wrong, but that's okay.
I have, as you know, and as Orrin knows, I got a great wife. I've got 4 kids, and between us, my wife and I, we have 4 kids, and my wife and I have 3 dogs and a cat. And so I'm very blessed, and I run a. Should I be looking right there?
You're fine. You can.
And I run a really amazing law firm, between 25 and 30 lawyers. I'm the managing partner, and we practice in courts all around California. We've helped all kinds of people, and we're being defrauded. I mean, it's amazing. For example, there are rings that try and steal people's homes, and we've represented so many people, kept them in their homes. So we do contract cases, fraud cases. I do constitutional cases. I brought the first case in the country 4 years ago now, against critical race theory, it so happens. And then we practice in other courts in other parts of the country. So my wife and I, we have a blessed life. So why do we do this? Why am I not home right now with her? We love this country. That's why I do this. We love this country. And we know that America is under attack right now. All right. The guns have not started shooting yet, for the most part. There have been instances where the guns went off. Look at what's going on in Kenosha right now. Hopefully, Kyle Rittenhouse gets acquitted. But we are under attack right now in this state and in this country. These people on the other side proudly call themselves progressives. They proudly call themselves socialists. It's all code for communists. And they can't stand this country. They can't stand our Constitution. They can't stand our history. They, frankly, I think they can't stand themselves. You know, I fight for all law-abiding American citizens of every race, creed, and color. But these people on the other side, every white person is a white supremacist to them. Everyone, period. If you look at what they write about what is now considered a white supremacist, you know, if you believe your child should do well in math, you're a white supremacist, for example. You know, if you believe in meritocracy and hard work, you're a white supremacist. And it doesn't matter. If you believe in meritocracy and hard work and you're a black person, you are a white supremacist. So we're in a battle right now.
Just showing up to work and having a time clock.
Yeah, I didn't hear, Orrin, I can't hear what you're saying because I don't have it in my ear and you're too far over there. But we're in a battle of good versus evil right now. The Attorney General of the state of California is the chief legal officer and the chief law enforcement officer of the state. And we need somebody in this position again who supports our brave men and women in law enforcement. That's me. We can't be politically correct anymore. There's a total of 4 people in this race. You will not hear one person say what I'm saying right here. They're all, you know, politician types. I'm not a politician. It liberates me. I can say what I want to say and believe in what I want to believe in. So, you know, bottom line, why am I running? Because I love this country. We're in a battle right now, and people need to come out of the private sector, non-political, non-politician types, to get into government and do what we can to fight for the people. And that's why you and I, Netter, for example, we're going up and down the state. We're traveling up and down the state. We're speaking to groups of people all over the state. Hopefully I'll come and see you wherever you are out there. If we haven't gotten you yet, you can contact our campaign. Orrin, Netter know how to get a hold of us.
Well, how do they get a hold of you, Eric? What have I taught you about marketing? I'm not a lawyer.
Netter's a marketing guy. EricEarly4CA.com. EricEarly4CA.com.
The
you can sign
number
up to
4.
volunteer. What's that? What was that, Orrin?
The number 4.
Number 4.
For CA.
Oh, right. The number. Well,
No,
actually,
we changed it.
EricEarly4CA.com.
There you go.
We learned to spell it out because we picked up a kid that graduated high school
We're
about 10
building
years
a
ago.
volunteer network across the state. This is a statewide race. And just so you folks know, I have run in 2 other races before. My first ever campaign, it was just me and my wife, frankly, on that travel in the state. I ran against Javier Becerra, that piece of garbage. And we ended up getting almost 1 million votes around the state of California. First ever campaign. It was amazing. I jumped in late. People didn't even know who I was. That was pretty cool. And then 2 years ago, I ran against Mike Netter's friend, Adam Schiff, for Congress.
Actually, it was last year.
It's not my friend. It might have been last year. There were 8 of us in the primary. On primary night, I ended up in the top 2, which was, you know, amazing. And then I took them on head to head. And frankly, it was a national campaign. I had support from around the country. We battled that piece of garbage to the bitter end. And I debated him. You can find that debate to this day. It's out there on social media. I believe over 1 million people have seen it. I took him to the cleaners in that debate. But let's just say the way the votes were counted, they ended up getting counted in his favor. That's what I'll say about it.
So understand something here, that to build back this state.
Skeptical about the way our votes are counted.
Yeah, well, and let's leave it at that. But what I'm talked about earlier that you didn't hear is just the fact the sheer number of people that don't vote.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, okay, everybody out there now, I won't have to get you to vote, but we need name recognition. And I'm really tired. Eric Early's got name recognition. And we need name recognition on where we are tonight, but again, in the Los Angeles area. So since I'm from Southern California, okay, as is Eric, I'm going to tell you again, when you go home for Thanksgiving or wherever you go for Thanksgiving, screw the standard rules of politeness. We are in a war and talk damn politics. All right. Worst case scenario. Okay. Worst case scenario. Somebody gets grumpy, and you'll remember why you moved out many years ago anyway, which is usually what happens, right? There's a reason you only see them a couple days a year. But putting that aside, okay, you've got talk about Eric Early. Focus on one thing this Thanksgiving, not national politics, not what an idiot Biden is, not Camilla, Marshmallow's low approval rating. Talk about the Attorney General.
I am so blessed to have Orrin and Mike on my team. You know, I was the lead lawyer for Recall Gavin 2020. I got to know these incredible Americans very well. I'm proud to call them my friends, and they are disruptors, and I'm a disruptor, and so many of you are disruptors, and I'm proud to be with the disruptors. We need to get into government in this state and we got to take the tree out from the roots and shake it up and get this state back again. And that's what we're going to do if we can pull this off. And we think we can pull this off. We're not kidding around here. This race can be won. And this state is such a mess. And the Attorney General, the power the Attorney General has to do things to get this state back in order is remarkable.
And Eric, what I'd like to do now is go up to the mic and start talking. We're going to flip it around.
Well, they're about to bring my pizza out, bro. Can I get one piece
of
pizza? Okay. You want me to start talking now?
I want you to at least give an introductory speech. Okay.
That's exactly what I love about Eric Early. He's real people, folks. And
he is. And
he says he's hungry for pizza. We're gonna have pizza.
So you can talk. You're a master.
But I don't get to eat.
It's actually 7:15, and I think we're either going to wrap it up about now and just call it a little bit short.
Yeah, we are going to call it a little bit short, but I want you to at least get up there and announce yourself. You're not. I know you're just going to do it for the camera. Okay, announce that you're going to start speaking in 15 minutes.
On that note,
okay. All right. On that note, Eric is going to go up so they can see you.
But while you two are working this out, let's let Tim wrap it up and kind of go through whatever Tim would like to say for the end of the show. Tim, your corner if you want it again.
So this coming week, next week, we're not going to have a town hall in lieu of the holiday weekend. So we're going to be taking a short little break. And what else is going on? Pay attention to the hearings.
Pay attention to the hearings.
Legislation.
Tomorrow there is a rally at the Capitol, Tim. It's for water infrastructure.
So water is very important here in the state of California because without water, we have nothing. And this includes clothing, electronics, you name it. Water is a very important thing here in the state. Without water, there's no life.
And they have claimed that we're in dire straits. They keep saying that we're under threat of monumental droughts and historical floods, and with climate change and things like that we're all in danger. So what they're trying to do is they want to ration our use of water and things like that, but this state hasn't made any investments in our infrastructure to rebuild or to build more water storage or to protect us from the looming floods. For 30 years. The last reservoir that we built in California was the New Melones Dam in 1972. And we saw what happened with the Oroville Dam when it was faced with collapse because it was left in disrepair. We desperately need more water storage here in California. This governor is taking down 4 hydroelectric dams on the Columbia River that provide water to Northern California and good, clean, green, renewable electricity. So what we need to do, folks, is we need to pay attention to what's going on and get involved and make the changes that we want to see happen in
A
our
quick
state.
question for you, Orrin, and
Yeah.
Stephanie, our dear friend there in Sacramento County, is more in the know of this. How many bonds have already been passed for water?
There's been one, I believe, back in 1980. There was a water bond that was passed, but none of that money has been spent.
Actually, we passed, right.
The initiative that's on the table now is a constitutional amendment, and it will require the state to spend that money. 2% of the general fund revenue would be required to be spent for water infrastructure and renewal.
And what a shame that the supermajority has done it and, you know, taken it this far to where we have to have a amendment to the Constitution of the state of California.
That's right.
Yeah, it is. And also let me stress something else here too. And before we roll to the end here and give a final, this is Shannon. Shannon is running a volunteer effort for Eric Hurley. Okay. What you've got to do too is do what we're doing all the time and get out there to a lot of these rallies. Okay. There's a million of them. Shannon, I know that when you make the last one you went to in Sacramento, there were like 4,000 to 5,000 people. Monday's rally, I know you weren't there, had like 1,500. So people ask all the time, what can I do? How can I participate? My Twitter feed is @NetterMike. Our Facebook groups are rebuildcalifornia.com. Although Tim is, quote, retiring for the moment, buddy, we're not letting you go from the town hall. Okay, we still are doing a lot of posting throughout our groups with a lot of people as to events. Participate, get out there, get educated. Don't depend.
And we actually, Shannon might grab one of those flyers. We actually have a flyer that she can talk about with action items that you can do from home.
Yes. So, November 30th.
Speaking to little white dot like the FBI.
We can hear her just fine without
November
that.
30th, there's going to be an educational committee oversight hearing, and it's the pandemic response oversight hearing, learning recovery, chronic assembly enrollment loss. So when you took your kids out of school due to not wanting them to go to school because you don't want to have them forced vaccinated, they're going to have a hearing, and that's going to be at 10 a.m. at the Capitol. The address is 1010 L Street. Room is 4202 in Sacramento. We're going to have this, I don't know, hopefully it looks good. We're going to have this sheet up on our site. We're going to be posting that. It's November 30th. It's going to be
On which site would that be?
10 a.m.
Well, which site?
Which site?
Sorry, Rebuild California.
Rebuildcalifornia.com. Okay.
Yes.
And again, there's a lot of other rallies, not to cut Shannon off, but I specialize in that. There are a lot of other things going on throughout the state. There is a big one that I'll be posting in Venice Beach on Saturday. Okay. It's not that hard to find them. I'm @NetterMike on Twitter, Rebuild California. You can find Orrin Heatlie pretty easily.
And you can go to rebuildcalifornia.com, click on the events tab. The events tab shows you what we have coming up.
You could find where Eric Hurley speaking again. Participate, California.
We need you. We
And
need your help, definitely.
If you have an event that you want posted on our website, we have 300,000 people that subscribe to our website. And if you want an event to be broadcast, contact us. We'll put it up on the website and we'll help you promote your event in your community.
Yes.
And I want to add something to that here. Thank you, Shannon. I keep going to events and I keep asking people, do you know about the recall? Have you heard about it? And they go, oh, yeah, absolutely. And I said, do you know about this and do you know about that? And they go, well, no, I haven't heard of it. Then I've been asking them to raise their hand, get on our email list, okay? When you go to rebuildcalifornia.com, and you know, I gotta end on this, Orrin, because people tell me, I'm afraid I'll get an email that I don't like. I'm afraid someone will asking for money. Well, California, as we end the show before Eric Hurley comes on to do his thing that we're gonna continue live with, you have to quit being afraid. Don't be afraid of getting on an email list. If you're afraid of getting an email, you're afraid of going out there and saving the state. So quit being afraid. Sign up at least for our email list on our site. Sign up to volunteer. Do what you can. Because if you're afraid, we're not going to get this state back. And don't be afraid to vote. Tim, thank you for everything you've done for us. Orrin, you want to add anything here? Good night now.
God bless
God
California.
bless.
God bless America. And thanks again, Tim.
Thank you,
Participate.
everyone. And I might see you all next year. I'm not certain yet, but you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Remember, eat hearty.
You too, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Tim. We're out.